What if I told you that the biggest threat to your financial security isn't the stock market, inflation, or even your own spending habits? What if the real danger is something you can't even see, something that's silently draining your bank account right now, and you won't know about it until it's too late? I'm Tom, and this is Tom Thinks. I'm here to cut through the Wall Street jargon and give you the real talk on your money, even if it hurts your feelings a little bit. The invisible tax. Look, we all worry about money. We worry about rent, about groceries, about saving for retirement. But here's what nobody's telling you. There's a hidden tax being levied on every single American right now, and it's not coming from the government. It's coming from cybercriminals. Now, I know what you're thinking. Tom, I'm careful with my passwords. I don't click on suspicious links. But stick with me here, because this is where it gets interesting. Research shows that cybercrime is set to cost businesses up to $10.5 trillion by 2025. Let me say that again, $10.5 trillion. That's not a typo. That's more money than the entire GDP of most countries. And here's the brutal truth. Those costs don't just disappear into thin air. They get passed on to you. Every time a company gets hacked, every time there's a data breach, every time they have to pay ransomware, those costs get baked into the prices you pay. It's an invisible tax that's inflating everything from your healthcare premiums to your grocery bill. Now, here's the secret. The average cost of a data breach globally is growing to around $4.88 million. But in the United States, we're paying almost double that amount. We're the #1 target, and we're paying the highest price. And this isn't just about big corporations. Small businesses, the mom-and-pop shops, the local restaurants, the family-owned businesses that make up the backbone of our economy, they're getting absolutely hammered. 55% of small and medium-sized businesses report that it would take less than $50,000 in financial impact from a cyber attack to go under. Think about that for a second. $50,000. That's less than the price of a new car. That's less than what many Americans have in their savings accounts. And 32% of these businesses say it would take less than $10,000 or less than 1 day of downtime to put them out of business. This is the financial reality that's being hidden from you. Every time you hear about another data breach on the news, you're not just hearing about stolen credit cards. You're hearing about jobs that will disappear, businesses that will close, and prices that will go up. It's a domino effect that starts in some hacker's basement and ends up in your wallet. And honestly, most people have no idea how vulnerable they really are. Your medical records are money. Now let's talk about something even more personal, your health. When you go to the doctor, you're thinking about your blood pressure, your cholesterol, maybe that nagging back pain. What you're not thinking about is that your medical records are worth more to cybercriminals than your credit card information. Seriously, healthcare data is the gold standard for identity theft. It has everything: your social security number, your date of birth, your insurance information, your medical history. It's a complete financial profile wrapped up in a HIPAA violation. The healthcare industry reports the most expensive breaches at an average of $9.8 million, and they've been at the top of industry costs for over a decade. More than 630 ransomware attacks affected healthcare bodies in a single year. Let that sink in. 630 attacks. That's hospitals, clinics, insurance companies, all the places that have your most sensitive information. And here's what's really alarming. It takes companies in the healthcare industry longer than any other to contain breaches. On average, it takes 255 days to detect a healthcare data breach. That's over 8 months. 8 months where your information could be floating around on the dark web, being bought and sold by criminals. Now I want you to think about the psychology here. When your credit card gets stolen, you notice pretty quickly. You see strange charges. You call your bank, they cancel the card, you get a new one. It's inconvenient, but it's manageable. But when your medical identity gets stolen, you might not find out for years. Someone could be using your insurance to get expensive medical procedures. They could be getting prescription drugs in your name. They could be building an entire medical history that isn't yours. And by the time you discover it, the damage is already done. Your credit is ruined, your insurance premiums have skyrocketed, and you're stuck trying to prove that you're not the person who had that heart surgery in another state. The overall cost of healthcare data breaches has increased by 53% since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's not a coincidence. As healthcare went digital, as telemedicine exploded, as records moved online, the attack surface expanded, and cybercriminals followed the money. But here's what nobody tells you. When hospitals get hit with ransomware attacks, they don't just absorb the costs, they pass them on. Those $9.8 million breaches, they get factored into your insurance premiums, your co-pays, your out-of-pocket expenses. You're paying for the cybersecurity failures of the healthcare industry every time you get a medical bill. And the worst part, most people don't even realize it's happening. The small business collapse. Moving on to something that hits even closer to home, your local economy. You know that coffee shop you love, the hardware store where the owner knows your name, the restaurant where you have date night. They're all one cyber attack away from closing forever. And this isn't hyperbole. This is what the data shows. Cybersecurity ranks as the #2 biggest business threat to small and medium-sized businesses in 2025. Number 2. Only economic uncertainty ranks higher. But here's the kicker. 60% of small businesses recognize they are the most likely target for cybercriminals. Yet 74% of small business owners handle cybersecurity themselves or rely on someone they know. And 49% admit they or their helper lack proper training or full understanding of the risk. Let me translate that for you. The people who are most vulnerable to attacks are also the least prepared. They're using their pet's name as a password. They're not requiring multi-factor authentication. They're working with outdated technology, or in 20% of cases, no cybersecurity technology at all. Now here's where this becomes your financial problem. When these businesses fail, and they are failing at an alarming rate, it creates a vacuum in your community. Jobs disappear, services vanish, competition decreases, which means prices go up. It's economic erosion happening at the local level, and it's being driven by cybercrime. But wait, it gets worse. Only 15% of small businesses hired an internal IT person or outsourced to a managed security service provider with the expertise needed to develop robust cyber defenses. The other 85%, they're winging it. They're hoping they won't get hit. They're playing cybersecurity roulette with their livelihoods, and by extension, with your local economy. And here's something that should scare you. 33% of small businesses are working with outdated cybersecurity technology. In a world where cyber threats evolve daily, they're fighting with weapons from 5 years ago. It's like bringing a knife to a drone fight. The financial impact of this is staggering. On average, small businesses can expect to pay $120,000 to recover from a cyber attack. For many small businesses, that's a death sentence. That's more than their annual profit. That's more than they have in reserves. That's the difference between staying open and closing their doors forever. And when they close, it's not just their loss. It's your loss too. It's the loss of convenience, of community, of economic diversity. It's another step toward a world where only big corporations can survive. And big corporations charge big corporation prices. The AI arms race. To understand this better, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, artificial intelligence. Now AI is everywhere. It's in your phone, it's in your car, it's in your home assistant. And cybercriminals are using it too. In fact, they might be using it better than the companies trying to protect you. Nearly 2/3 of managers and over half of C-suite cyber leaders identify AI-driven attacks as their biggest challenge, warning that AI is opening new attack surfaces they are not equipped to defend. Let me break down what that means for your wallet. Tools like ChatGPT that are available for free to the public can generate up to 30 phishing email templates every hour. 30. That means a single cybercriminal can now create more convincing, more personalized, more dangerous phishing emails in one day than they could have created in a year just a few years ago. And 60% of recipients fall victim to Gen AI-driven phishing attacks, comparable to traditional attack numbers. But here's where it gets really concerning. 80% of phishing attacks are AI-generated, with the trend likely to continue. Use of Gen AI in phishing attacks has increased by at least 17% year-on-year, with experts prepared for more significant jumps. Now, I want you to think about the financial implications of this. When phishing attacks get more sophisticated, more people fall for them. When more people fall for them, more money gets stolen. When more money gets stolen, companies lose more revenue. And when companies lose revenue, they do one of two things. They cut costs, which usually means cutting jobs, or they raise prices. Either way, you lose. But here's the real kicker. 36% of C-suite cyber leaders and 38% of managers admit that the technology behind cyber attacks is more sophisticated than their own. Let me say that again. The people in charge of protecting your data are admitting that the criminals have better technology. They're outgunned. They're outmatched. They're playing catch-up in a game where catching up means losing billions of dollars. And those billions of dollars, they're coming from somewhere. They're coming from pension funds. They're coming from investment portfolios. They're coming from the economic growth that should be making your life better, but instead is being siphoned off by cybercriminals. The AI cybersecurity market is set to exceed $133 billion by 2030. That's how much companies are spending just to try to keep up. And that's $133 billion that isn't being spent on research and development, on employee raises, on product improvements. It's a massive diversion of resources from productive economic activity to defensive economic activity, and you're paying for it in higher prices and lower quality. The insurance trap. Now here's where most people think they're safe: insurance. You've got health insurance, car insurance, maybe even cyber insurance if you're a business owner. But what if I told you that insurance is becoming part of the problem, not the solution? Claims made on cybersecurity insurance are increasing by around 13% year-on-year. Insurance carriers report an average loss of around $100,000 per claim, and only 74% of companies have specific cybercrime insurance to cover losses. But here's the dirty secret. Insurance companies aren't charities. When they pay out more claims, they do one thing: they raise premiums. Written, direct premiums for cyber insurance are expected to reach $23 billion by the end of the year. $23 billion that businesses are paying just for the chance to maybe get some money back if they get hacked. And ransomware accounts for 19% of all claims made on cyber insurance. Now think about the psychology of insurance for a moment. When you have insurance, you feel protected. You feel like you've transferred the risk to someone else. But what happens when the risk becomes so great that the insurance companies can't handle it? What happens when premiums become so expensive that businesses can't afford them? We're already seeing it. The market size for cybersecurity insurance is set to top $20 billion. That's a $20 billion industry that exists solely because of the failure to prevent cybercrime. It's a symptom of the disease, not a cure. And here's what's really alarming. Cyber insurance policy numbers are increasing by around 11.7% yearly after a lull, and annual claims are increasing to more than 33,500. That's 33,500 businesses getting hacked and making claims. Every single one of those claims represents a financial loss. Every single one represents money that's being diverted from productive use to recovery. And every single one contributes to the cycle of higher premiums and higher costs. But wait, it gets worse. Business owners view cyber risks as more threatening than any other cause of business loss, at 34%, surpassing natural disasters. Let that sink in. Business owners are more worried about cyber attacks than they are about fires, floods, or earthquakes. And when business owners are worried, they make different decisions. They're less likely to expand. They're less likely to hire. They're more likely to cut costs, all of which affects you. All of which affects your job prospects, your wages, your economic opportunities. The insurance trap is this. The more we rely on insurance to protect us from cybercrime, the more expensive everything becomes. It's a feedback loop, where the cost of the problem becomes embedded in the cost of doing business. And that cost gets passed on to you in the form of higher prices, lower wages, and reduced economic growth, breaking the cycle. So what do we do about all this? How do we break this cycle of cybercrime draining our economy and our personal finances? Fayarson, we need to understand that this isn't just a technology problem. It's a financial literacy problem. It's an economic problem. It's a problem that requires us to think differently about how we protect ourselves and our money. Companies that actively use security automation and AI spend $1.8 million less per year on breaches than those that do not. Companies using security automation and AI also save more than $3 million per data breach. That's money that stays in the economy. That's money that can be used to create jobs, to raise wages, to improve products. But here's the catch. Only 41% of businesses now use zero-trust security architecture. Only 83% of IT professionals require employees to use multi-factor authentication. We're not using the tools we have effectively. And the cybersecurity industry has a talent shortage of 4 million professionals. Up to 570,000 cybersecurity roles remain unfilled in the US alone. We don't have enough people to fight this battle. But here's where there's hope. Research shows that US cybersecurity jobs are expected to grow 33% by 2033 to 17,300 new jobs for IT security analysts are projected to open each year across the next decade. That's opportunity. That's economic growth. That's a chance to build a more secure future. We have to invest in it. We have to train people. We have to make cybersecurity a priority not just for IT departments but for everyone. Because here's the final, brutal truth. 95% of all data breaches involve some kind of human element or error. As many as 88% of all cyber incidents are caused by human errors. This isn't just about having better technology. It's about having better habits. It's about being smarter about how we use technology. It's about understanding that every click, every download, every password choice has financial consequences. The worldwide zero-trust security market is projected to be worth almost $133 billion by 2032. That's how much we're willing to spend to try to solve this problem. But the real solution starts with you. It starts with understanding that your financial security is connected to digital security. It starts with recognizing that the invisible tax of cybercrime is real, and it's affecting your life right now. And it starts with demanding better security, better transparency, better protection from the companies that handle your data and your money. Because here's what I want you to remember. Every time you hear about a data breach, it's not just someone else's problem. It's your problem. It's money being taken from your pocket. It's economic growth being stolen from your future. And until we start treating it that way, until we start understanding that cybersecurity is personal finance, we'll keep paying this invisible tax. We'll keep watching small businesses fail. We'll keep seeing prices go up. And we'll keep wondering why, in the richest country in the world, so many of us feel so financially insecure. The alarming financial statistics of the average American aren't just numbers on a page. They're a warning, and it's time we started listening.
Found this interesting? Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like, share it out, and drop your questions or ideas in the comments. Until our next adventure.